Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Deacon Heath, Norman Heath, once again back with you, representing the Church Nerds Podcast. We want to wish all the mothers in our lives a happy Mother's Day. Hopefully, you all are just enjoying the day and getting all those things that you deserve for being wonderful mothers throughout the Church Nerd congregation. So, because we're great sons as well, we want to spend this time with our families once again. We're doing the good son thing, celebrating the mothers in our lives, be it our wives, our own mothers, or people that we're just related to. All of us have different relationships, so I didn't want to exclude anybody. That being said, we never want to leave you without some type of content, so we went back in the vault and pulled a phenomenal episode that we did last Mother's Day, featuring Evangelist Virginia Bouie. It was called The Importance of Being a God-Fearing Mother. That episode, if you didn't catch it that time, stick in, stay right here. You're going to love watching it this time. As always, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, share this episode. We want to make sure that we're getting to all the corners of the digital space. Stay plugged in, stay tuned in, and we'll be back next week with another phenomenal episode of the Church Nerds Podcast right here live on our channels. Take care. God bless. Happy Mother's Day.
Yo, what's going on, everybody, man? We are back with another Church Nerds episode. You know what time it is. We want to say happy Mother's Day. It is our special Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, man. We got Norman Heath, Gabe, Jordan, Pastor B, Darrell Walls. Brandon will hop on in a second, and Andre couldn't make it on tonight. We'll talk about him later.
His fine has been communicated from the show.
Hey, first season, Gabe, we didn't know where Gabe was. Now, second season, we don't know where Andre is. So it switched on us. Man, we want you to make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the Church Nerds Podcast. Follow us on all of our streaming platforms or whatever you get your streaming from. You Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio, man. Wherever you go, take the Church Nerds with you. If you can't watch,
make sure you cash app Jay Baldwin. Yeah. Make sure you
advertising his cash app. I mean, let's put my cash app up.
Put it up there.
That's true. You know, Baldwin Ministries is taking off. It's in its infancy.
Baldwin Ministries.
Baldwin Ministries. I don't know. I missed something too. Apparently.
Oh, you missed that? Okay. See, I'm trying to sow into the vision, brother. I'm trying to get.
Okay.
Listen,
life into you. Cash app, but since he doesn't,
thank you. See, Darrell was with me.
Listen, man, we want to shout out all of our mothers. If y'all who know me, my mother passed away 4 years ago around this time. So I am the son of Tanya Baldwin. Shout out
the
legendary Tanya Baldwin, man. Mom, I love you. I miss you. I know you're resting well. Can't wait to meet you on that great day. If y'all know my mother, she was fun to be around. Darrell knows her during football season. She was a trash talker like nobody's business.
Trash talk. I mean, trash talk. Boy, I hated when I faced her that week in fantasy football. Boy, if I don't hear nothing else, I'm getting that text. I know I'm waiting on the text. If I see her at the church, she gonna talk some trash, boy.
She gonna talk trash. And nerds, do y'all want to say anything about y'all moms real quick? You know, shout out y'all moms.
Yep. Shout out First Lady Jordan, the beautiful, the elegant. I love you, Mom. Hope you're watching.
Well, I like to shout much love to my mother, Pastor.
I knew it was coming. I was trying to get in before him so he could go last.
No, you ain't stopping me, son.
I just knew it was coming.
That's right. Pastor Geraldine, and then my two sisters, Andrea, Angelica, my wife, Shannon. I'm just surrounded by beautiful mothers. It's a great place to be.
Indeed.
Indeed. Shout out my wife too. Also, my wife.
Right. I didn't know we were shouting out wives.
Listen, if we don't shout them out, we gonna be in trouble after this.
Y'all should have did that. Y'all late.
Exactly. Hey, y'all messed up. Y'all go up to the roof of your house. Deal with that.
My light is on me now. My turn. I want to shout out my mom and my wife, and to my sister, to my grandma who is still with us, who is still living. We thank God for her as well, and we just appreciate all of those women who.
I want to do mine over again.
Hold on, wait your turn. Like, hold on, I'm waiting.
It's Darrell's turn now.
Right,
Darrell, go ahead, Darrell.
I want to shout out, of course, my mom, Lady Janice Horde. Got to shout out, my wife, Future, sake, and then of course all my sisters, aunties, and fake aunties and fake moms and everybody else. In church, you got like 10 or 20 different,
25 moms.
Yeah, exactly. So to everybody, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
And of course, the Mom in Love as well.
There it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listen, we want everybody to comment your mother's name, man. Put your mom's name out down there, your aunties, sisters, whatever. Shout out your mother on this happy Mother's Day. All right.
Who showed up?
What's
Church
up,
nerd
Jay?
Jalen. What's up, Jay?
Of course.
She should be on.
She should be on because we have a special guest today, y'all.
Yeah.
Yep.
If y'all haven't seen, man, listen, we had Jalen on along with her husband the past couple times, but we got a special guest, man. We got none other than Jalen's mother. We got none other than the preacher, the teacher, the evangelist, the doctor. We got none other. My godmother, evangelist, the preacher woman, Evangelist Virginia Bouie. She's on with us today.
Hey guys, keep that going. Keep that going.
Keep it up. Yeah, that's why we put you in the middle. We got to keep,
Woo!
You run out.
Glad to be in the space with you all.
Yes. Listen, you got a amen corner in the comment section. We got Jalen on here.
She there.
Evangelist Bouie, man, thank you so much for joining the church.
Absolutely.
Nerds. You did not have to do this. We appreciate you coming on with us. We appreciate you. What up, Liz? Happy Mother's Day to you, Liz, as well. But we want to say thank you and happy Mother's Day to you.
Yes.
Thank you. I almost feel like I'm Charlie in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I feel like I got the golden ticket.
Yeah.
I'm in the hottest spot. Thank you. Thank you
So much. Thank you so much. Well, now, Lady Bouie, whenever we have a guest on here, this is the Church Nerds podcast. So, we talk about nerdy stuff. So, we always ask our guests, what is something that makes you a nerd? Was it a cartoon that you loved growing up, the books? What is it? What's something that's nerdy that you love to you?
Easily, it will be my fascination from childhood with reading the dictionary. I would literally grab.
Why am I not surprised?
I like that.
Not surprised at all.
I like that.
I still do that to this day. I'm not saying that my vernacular is this distinguished, but I'm fascinated.
The word
I tell people I'm fascinated with words.
Yes.
I'm fascinated with words. Words fascinate me.
Evangelist Bouie, is it true that you read through a Concordian at 5? First question of the day.
Okay. One of the last
Some of my achievements I try to keep, outside the scope of things.
Gotcha.
Lady Bouie, one of the last gifts my grandfather bought me before his passing was a complete set of the encyclopedia.
Oh wow!
And I had that thing freshman year of college. I think I still have those books.
Come on,
around here somewhere. But I had the entire set, brown book, A to Z, complete, and I used to read them.
You will never know the joy. You will never know the true joy that can be experienced of reaching up grabbing one of those Britannica, red and black vines, pulling it off the shelf and finding a nice place, curling up, and just gleaning knowledge.
Yes. You probably lost anybody under the age of 30 right there. Like, what?
and I lost the audience right there.
Right.
Like, oh, under 30 audience. They go.
When I said reach on the shelf.
Right. Reach on the shelf. A set of what? Like, no.
Listen, I think that's why, that's something that my mom was an English teacher. I think she got a doctorate in education. She loved English. She was always reading something. She was always reading a book. She always told us the classic mom quote, "Mom, I'm bored." Well, go read. I'm gonna be more bored if I'm reading. So.
Right. And Jeremy, your mother was my good friend, hence I'm your actual godmother. And I
absolutely
your actual god.
Absolutely.
And that is the thing. That was one of the things that really we connected with, our kindred spirits for knowledge. We, we were not professing to be these, intellectuals, but we literally loved knowledge, and we could talk. And we took trips where we were quoting poetry to one another. You do what you do. But we were, and we would quote poetry. Emily Dickinson was a favorite of mine, and she'd explain what she thought it meant, and I'd explain. I mean, when you like what you like,
her favorite author was her favorite author was Maya Angelou. She loved Maya Angelou. She had books from her. I think she said she met her one time or something, but. If my mom's office, if y'all been there, books. She's got books. She's got some of Bishop Bell's books, Bishop Moore's. She got every type of book. She just loved reading, but she also loved watching cartoons. Her favorite cartoon back was Rocket Power in the 90s. So that tell you a lot too. So she knew how to have fun.
Rocket Power.
Rocket Power.
Rocket. Thank you.
Rocket Power. What did I say?
No. I'm just making sure I got the name right.
Oh,
no shade, brother. No shade.
I got you.
Evangelist Bouie.
You're jumping on me already. All I did was occasion.
For those who do not know you and your ministry, just real quick, could you just real quick introduce yourself and just talk about what you do, your ministry, your conference, and stuff like that? Just to just briefly introduce yourself to our audience. Wonderful.
Of course, I am Evangelist Sister Virginia. I love my name. I'm Virginia. Sometimes you don't get to hear that first name enough, right? And so, and I am the wife of Pastor Donnell Bouie, who pastors in the St. Louis metro area. And our church is Transformation Apostolic Ministries. He's been pastoring for 10 years down here.
And that's a powerful name. I ain't going.
Yeah, and we recently changed.
Yeah,
he felt led a number of years ago as God was moving us. And one of the things that is big in our church, big in both of our ministries. My husband has a heavy ministry to men. You can be quiet about stuff and still be doing powerful things for the kingdom. You can be quiet. Your name does not have to be mentioned in every room. It just needs to be mentioned where it needs to be mentioned. And so one of the things that we believe heavily in is seeing lives transformed. And the greater depth of that transformation is what we're going for. And so he just felt, as God was leading him, that the church's name needed to reflect what God was doing in our church. And so, and that's what God does in our ministries. And with that, hence Cafe Freedom. A lot of people associate me with Cafe Freedom, where women from every walk of life, churched and unchurched, have a relationship with God, never heard of this God that we're talking about, can come and they can experience a day of deliverance, but a lifetime of freedom. And we come together and usually it's 300-400 of us strong. And basically we have put out the clarion call now for almost 13 years for one thing: come and be transformed. That's what come and be transformed. And so that's what really my heart is. Now, in my secular career, I'm a professor of 24 years at a community college. Yeah, I'm in my 24th year. This coming August.
Nice.
And it's funny because people, they'll say, you teach? Because they think all I do is, you know. And I'm like, yeah. 40 hours every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? That whole, I love what I do, but this is what I say. God would have allowed me, I believe, or has allowed me to do my hobby and get paid. Wow. I can wake up in the morning and, you know, and talk about some subject. I'm not going to say I'm getting it all right, but I love to discuss. I love to, you know, so I can converse in the morning. I was born to teach. I really believe that. But God allowed me, when he compelled me to answer the call to ministry, I'll let you get paid for what you want to do. How will you get paid for your hobby? So I literally feel like I get paid to do my hobby. Because I've chosen to say yes to the call on my life for ministry. So I've been teaching at Joliet Junior College. It's the first community college in the nation. First community college in the nation, opened in 1901. And I've been there for 24 years. And in fact, you know, I love you church nerds, because I'm giving 2 finals tonight. There's finals tonight.
You said giving? Oh, Lord.
I'm giving finals, so I got to do a little grading afterwards. But I said I can't miss being in the church.
Hey.
Well,
now it's funny that you say.
Gabe, I need to cut you off. I apologize for this, but we are now joined. I'm patching him in now. He's straight from the Bat Cave. He is.
Yeah. You thought you was honored, Lady Bouie. You really about to be honored now. Here's the honor.
Here's the honor. Last night at the Illinois State Council. If y'all can see this man preach like a crazy person, y'all about to be sure right now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Brandon Traps.
Hey, Godmom, how you doing? I know Jay on here want to claim you as his only guy, your only guy.
I'm here to say that's my other guy.
Nah. World's Brandon, man, Godmom, we gonna get back to you. But Brandon, listen, you preached a powerful message last night, brother.
My Lord,
you preached a good message.
The Lord is good.
My Lord. I said, that man said, I'm going to preach just in case they don't ever invite me back to the Illinois State Council. Make sure you don't leave no stone unturned.
No stone.
He is a preacher and has been from youth. From youth. I can verify that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You can verify.
Lady Bouie, listen, our episode today, it's today's Mother's Day. And obviously we're honoring all the mothers out there and everything. But we wanted to bring you on and talk to the people and give words of wisdom. First question is, what is a mother? That should be the first thing. What is a mother?
That's a loaded question for me. I don't even think it can be put in a complete definition. Because for me, when I think of a mother, motherhood is physically, emotionally, and mentally, and dare I say, spiritually challenging.
Yeah.
Can I take the scenic route to that?
Go ahead. Listen.
Take your time. Take your time.
So, just because you're a woman and you can conceive, doesn't necessarily make you a mother.
Right.
You can conceive. Yeah.
It got heavy in here already. Go ahead. Walk the text.
I'm gonna visit every one of y'all. I mean, but literally, you can conceive, you can carry, and you can bear a child. And it doesn't mean that you're able to bear a child. You can, and so I think that's the thing so a mother to me is someone who is able to nurture and to give the compassion and the love that is needed for the child that they are carrying. And I want you to know that mothers come in all forms. There are mothers that have born physically, and there are mothers that have born after that child was physically born, birthed out, and they have become everything that child needs in the form of a mother. So for me, that sort of a person that can nurture and give the love and the compassion, and that is probably comes out in a number of different ways, because that means knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we have to provide our children so that they can be the complete individuals that God has designed them to be. So yeah, so a little bit of all that.
Wow.
If y'all don't know, that just hit deep. So if y'all want to cash app Lady Bouie,
Nah.
you know,
Pass the plate
right now.
No, but this is why you and your husband are one of my favorite teachers. I love when you all teach. Whenever you all are teaching seminars and stuff, I make sure I'm there if I can be, because you are definitely my favorite teachers.
And that's why I thought it was ironic when you said earlier that people are surprised that you're a professor, because
I'm shocked by that too.
When people see you preach and teach, you see the elements of it in your presentation. You know. And my next question is:
do we need to cast out something? Because we just gonna ignore the extra voice in the room.
That was Brandon's sidekick.
That's Gabe recording himself when he graduated.
Was it Robin?
No. My next question is, Lady Bouie.
Yes.
How has becoming a mother enhanced or heightened your personal ministry? Like the revelation of being a mother, how has that impacted the way you see ministry and how you even see your own walk in faith?
Okay, and I definitely want to say everything I get ready to say. I am not trying to be deep. I'm not trying to be deep, because you know, people that are deep with no depth get on my nerves. So I'm not trying to be deep.
Can we hashtag that? Can we hashtag that?
That belongs on the t-shirt.
Deep with no depth.
Church Nerd Congregation, hashtag that in the comment right now.
Deep with no depth. Hashtag that.
Hey, yo, we gotta get that. We gotta get a shirt made like that. Deep with no depth. That's good.
I'm getting ready to say this. My first ministry, before I knew what ministry was, my first ministry was experience, the ministry of motherhood. And let me tell you, even before I became a mother, I know everybody will say this about their mothers, and some absolutely cannot, because there is another sector in this global community that doesn't know the wonderful mother that Gabriel had, the wonderful mother that Brian, they didn't experience that. And so I have to realize sometimes that when we talk about motherhood and our wonderful mothers and our spiritual mothers, we're talking in a bubble for somebody, because they have never experienced that. But I was blessed to experience the ministry of motherhood through my great-grandmother, who I knew and was able from a very young age to spend time with, my grandmother, and my mother, and they loved motherhood. They were mothers. They didn't just mother children that they carried. They were literally talked about in their communities for being this compassionate, this person that had love, that wasn't just love in words, but was love in deed, in action. And so I was sort of blessed, because God knew what he was going to do with my life. I was blessed to come through that line. I was blessed to come through, my great grandmother, my grandmother Hilma, my mother Mary Maxine. I was blessed because they had love to give. And so for me, that was extremely powerful, because I realized that I was born to mother. And I'm gonna say I was born. Not blowing on my knuckles. I was born to mother, and I was born to be a mother, but I was born to mother. And I realized that from my parents. My parents did something that is not always something that is done it's not that it isn't done, but it is not done as frequently as it needs to be done in the African American culture. My parents, after their children, my mother and father had 4 children between them. My father had 2 children before my parents got married, but my mother was of the persuasion, anything that is of your seed, I need them to be a part of this family. Because that's what family means to me. So we always knew that our half siblings were a part of our family, and they were in there. But my parents, upon me being, I think it was my junior or senior year of high school, my parents decided, both of my parents, my mother was saved, my father was just a loving father, but they decided to become foster parents. And so we had children in and out that were in very precarious situations, in and out of our house, emergency situations. Sometimes they would be there for a week. Sometimes they would be there for 6 weeks. Sometimes they would be there for a year. So we had that. I went off to college and my parents continued to do that. Of that time that they were foster parents, my mother never saw a child she couldn't love. So my parents actually ended up adopting 5 of the children that they had fostered. Wow. So I have so our family of 4 that when included our half siblings became 6 and then added the 5. So I have an extremely large family. And when we get together, we try to figure out who is that 20-something-year-old that's your sister?
Right.
Because we don't talk in the forms of adoptive. I only say that so that it makes sense when people try to figure out why is there somebody that looks 20 years younger than you.
Right.
And so I watched my mother. My mother taught me how to love. He taught me how to care. You don't have to be biologically connected because we are all connected spiritually by the blood of Jesus Christ. And so so I think for me, mothering is not difficult, and it trickled because God knew I needed to see my great-grandmother's love. I needed to experience my grandmother's love. I needed to see parents who could love, children that were difficult and challenging in and out. They loved them for 6 weeks. They loved them for a week. But they get, and so God knew that he would use me for a world of people, because people that know Bouie's, if our church never becomes a mega church, and I have that. If you ever do a show on mega churches, please call me back. I got a whole lot.
Hey, someone write that down right now. Make sure we bring her back for that.
A lot of stuff about mega churches. But anyway.
So what do you think of Preachers of LA?
This show's about Mother's Day. It's about Mother's Day.
We will derail it if we keep talking about that. But I'm telling you, God absolutely knew where he was taking me with the ministry. If Transformation Apostolic Ministries never has 500 members, never has 100 members, and if you've done research on the church, the majority of the churches in the country are 50 or less. Are 50 or less. That's the majority. So the people that are trying to get those 1,000 members, nothing wrong with that. People that are going for that. But I want to be able to show the number that God sends through our church, sends us out so that our church can encounter them. I want to show them love. So what our church really is attempting to do is to perfect. What Cafe Freedom is attempting to do is to perfect loving people with the love of Jesus. Because what changes people is the love of Jesus.
Right.
What people are starving for in this world. I can't receive Acts 2:38. I can't receive the baptism in Jesus' name. I can't even understand if you don't first attend to me where I am in a deficit. This world is in a deficit of love. For love. They're in a deficit. So that's one of the things that we strive to do is to love. And I tell people, I said, one of the things, if you walk away and you say, hey, y'all don't have the music right here, and we love your preaching, but you don't have the music right. If you say, hey, your audio visual, it's not fancy enough. It does, what. But if I can live with that. But if you walk away and say you didn't feel the love, there's a problem. You got to feel the problem. You got to feel, and that's what you got to feel the love, and so that's what we seek to perfect the love with the love of Jesus Christ.
That's good.
You were talking, and you said something, something that your mother, bringing in foster kids, and motherhood is not just what you do; it's just who you are. When you just see something that just needs nurturing. You automatically you don't think about it. It doesn't matter what race, color, whatever. You just see something that just needs nurturing. And like you said, with the love of Christ, he loved everybody. He loved it. That's just who he is. So I really truly believe motherhood is just, you just got that Christ-like anointing on a mother, because I know fathers can have it too, but there's something about some nurturing with a mother that makes, you know, people comfortable with doing, you know. So my next question is, we talked about what makes a mother, but what makes a God-fearing mother? That's you know, God-fearing is, that's a whole other, because you got mother, but a God-fearing mother is something more in depth. Can you explain that?
Can I kind of frame that question a little different? I spoke not too many weeks ago in Joliet and spoke a little bit about Moses' mother, Jochebed, and she had an impossible decision to make as it related to what to do with Moses, and ended up having to take her own child, put him in this basket, and send him down this river, not knowing what would happen. But she was in tune with the voice of God. And I kind of spoke about this a little bit this morning in service. So when you talk about a God-fearing woman and just kind of having that, it being in tune with God, you know, what has been your experience, or what are your words of wisdom as it relates to women or mothers who may be out there with impossible decisions to make as it relates to their children? You talked about your mom bringing in foster children. Like, sometimes there are impossible decisions to make as it relates to their children. But that mother, in order for him to be the savior of Israel, bring him out of Egypt, he had to go in that bucket, and he had to sail down that river. What is your advice to mothers who are living in that state where it's like, what do I do?
And there are mothers that need to make that decision every day, have that decision, the weight of their day. And so something that was said, sometimes we meet people at a location and we judge them from that location. But you don't even know you don't even know their journey to that location. So you definitely can't help them to their destination, because you don't even respect their journey to the location.
Darrell, get the organ ready.
And so my thing is that I don't care, the more broken the woman, the more battered the woman, the more torn from the floor up the woman, the more I understand the encounter that God has created for me, and I got to make the right decision, even if the right decision is inconvenient, even if the right decision isn't right for my mind, but it's right for His purpose. I got to make the right decision.
Dangerous.
Moses' mother made the right decision. It wasn't right for her heart. It wasn't right for her mind. It wasn't even rational to put your baby in an ark with alligators, not knowing what. Come on, but I got to make the right decision.
You had to do it.
And how do I make the right decision? Because somebody said, how do I become a God-fearing? I got to be willing to be a living sacrifice. Mothers make sacrifices. Mothers make sacrifices for their children. How do I become a God-fearing woman? First of all, I got to get in His Word. You'll be fearful without this. But if you have this in you, you'll be God-fearing. It'll make all the difference. It'll help you through every difficult decision. Every difficult decision. There is no mother raising. Listen, I wouldn't even want to raise children in this period.
Oh Lord,
I'm sorry, because all of y'all raising children.
All of us.
But what am I saying? I'm not saying that you can't raise your children, but this is a more challenging time to raise children than it was for previous generations.
My Lord.
Just a couple of years ago.
Are you saw it here? Make sure you get that cash out from him.
Right, make sure you press it. Come on, press the money.
$ Church Nerds Podcast.
Let me just cut. I just believe that what makes a God-fearing mother is one that doesn't just read the word, but lives the word and makes the sacrifices that God requires of them.
Yes.
And a mother, because listen, mothers can be selfish. Mothers can be, listen, motherhood can throw so many curveballs at you. that you need to be. And look at the world that we live in, even right now.
Right.
You got mothers that are 15 years older than their children.
You got grandma is just 15 years older than that.
Listen, you got mothers that got pregnant. This is not a slight against them. This is the reality that we're living in. Right. And so when you encounter these people, whether at your altar, on your church pew, at the threshold of your church door, or out on the street, you got to know the location that they are at.
Yes.
So that you can deal with them appropriately. If I'm 15 years older than my child, and let me tell you that age can drop just a few years underneath that.
Yeah. Right.
Because there's some terrible things that happen to young girls.
Right.
And when we see that, oh Lord, I want to be real up in here.
Go ahead.
So I tell them back home, because those of you, my godson Brandon has preached the church down and left it that way. We had to build it back up after he left, but he's been down into our to our church community. Listen, the area that our church is in is surrounded by strip clubs. St. Louis proper is, like any metropolitan city. It offers, all levels of social class and income. But we live in that pocket that is, it's devastating. And there's strip clubs all around. These young ladies, these young men have grown up seeing this. So when we meet them, that's their location. Right. Mentally, emotionally. I'm not saying that there are no exceptions to that. But a lot of the people that we meet, a lot of the people that come to our altar, they may not be like the people that might come to your altar.
Right.
Right.
So we got to meet them where they are. And so I can't judge them by the deepness of their V in their. I can't judge them by the lack of inches in their skirt. Yeah. Can I talk to somebody? I can't judge them by this, that, or the other, because I got to meet them at their location. So if I'm a mother and I've been raised up in that environment, that's not everybody that my husband pastors or the people that we encounter, but it is a large percentage of them. So when we meet them there, I don't have time. Come on, can we grow up? Can our spiritual sensitivities, can we learn to handle some stuff?
I heard it. I heard grow up.
That's the sermon right there.
I don't have time to embarrass a sister who comes to the altar half dressed by wrapping her up 3 layers in a sheet. Woo! When she's already layered up in guilt and insecurity and lack of identity. Listen, we gotta handle some stuff so that we can meet them at the location. So a lot of times when those people come there, they may be feeling this, they may be feeling that. And maybe because I had a baby at 15 and now I'm 35, maybe I want to live my own life now. So I may not make a good mother. Right. Although I desire to be a good mother, because I wasn't mothered properly. For me, the church has to be, Paul says, I'm going to paraphrase this. I'm everything to you have to become everything.
All men. All men.
And so what do you need? Because what you need, I can't base it on what I needed or didn't need. What do you need? I can't base it on where I came from and what and one of the problems we have, I'm just going to say this. I love the church. It's the best thing on this side of heaven. Without the church, nobody's going to get to heaven. We need Amen. So I don't malign the church.
You hear that, Brian?
Talk about the people.
You hear that? I was still right. So don't talk on me.
Can I talk about the people in the hall?
She is agreeing with Ty. You hear that?
I don't get down with beating up the church, but can we just talk about the people?
Talk about it.
Yeah, hey, put it out there.
Yeah, we gotta
go ahead and talk. The Avengers are saying amen to you. So go ahead.
We gotta be careful. We just gotta be really careful how we deal with God's people.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
All souls belong to God.
Yes.
And we gotta make sure that we are handling them the way God would have us to handle them, and that the church is handling them with care and not based on our standards and not God's. Because if you want to know how Jesus handled those that were side-eye glanced and judged, go to his word.
Yeah.
And let's handle people like Jesus handled people.
Yeah.
You know, which is going to require us. That doesn't mean all things go, but I think we need to prioritize what is meaningful, what is important, what is really significant. And
Lady Bouie, you got Brandon wanting to preach again. I see it.
Brandon, listen, my godson Brandon looked like he'd been in council 3 days and even
My Lord, Springfield ain't around the corner, but
it's not. I got up 7 o'clock this morning driving back. Oh God!
I drove back last night, got home at 2 in, but that's
Lord Jesus. After you got done preaching,
but after I got done preaching, but I agree too with Evangelist Bouie, what she's saying. But I kind of want to ask a kind of different question. I know growing up, and probably mostly in your generation, a little bit in ours growing up, we had like mothers in the church that were real mothers. We had mothers that could talk to you, mothers that could correct you, mothers that, and they weren't correcting you to hurt you, but they really wanted to see the best for you in the church. How do you think that has differed in the times that we live in now? Because I mean, I know Mother Foy, Mother Boykin. Now I'm talking Christ Temple because those Mother Smith, and they were real.
We talk about those women like they're legends. Yeah. Because in a way, all of them spoke, and all of you have those women. You have your Mother Foy, your Deaconess Smith, that spoke into your life that could correct you. And you knew she did it in love. And some of those mothers, they did it with a little edge, little heavy.
Baby, that ain't it. That ain't it.
But you understood,
Right.
I think, and I want to say this, and I want to be very careful how I say it, because I do not want to malign anybody in our present generation or the recent on either side of that. But I think that we as women must do an effective job filling the spaces that have been vacated. And let me tell you what we can't do. If I haven't been and I ain't trying to be preachy, I promise you, but if I haven't been living
it's in you.
When deaconess whoever die, I can't just insert myself, because you listen. I gotta live today to prepare for what God want to do with me tomorrow.
Right.
And so I think that's why it's so important that every part of the church, every age group of the church is getting the word that they need adapted to them for their age. Because the children today are going to be mothers. If God tarries, they're going to be mothers. And so I think we need that to work together. And I think in some ways, sometimes we've gone off track. And so some of those mothers that went off the scene, let me just say it this way, because I don't want any of my present day mothers texting me that some of these vacancies have not been properly filled. And when I say that, with the right mindset, because I don't think it's old against new. I don't think it's too much. I think we make a competition out of everything.
Yes.
I don't think it's old against it. That's not. No, we work together. We work together, and so I just really think that is what we need. Some mothers that will be mothers, because we have more people in this society, global society, American society, that are unmothered. Poverty affects children. I believe the last statistic poverty affects children more than anybody. Children wake up, the people that wake up hungry, the majority of them, they say, are children, right? That wake up hungry. So we have to realize that means there are some parents that are missing.
Right.
That are not there, because some of them are incarcerated. Some of them are right now in crack houses. Some of them, I can't do it, so I need Big Mama to do it. And Big Mama raised her children, or tried to, and she's 70, raising 7-year-olds. So if the church don't become what the community needs, take the the name off your church. If we're not going to be what the community needs, strip our church down and sell it to somebody. Let them make the neighborhood market because the church has got to be what the community needs.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
because I remember that. To Brandon's point, I remember growing up, and church was like a second family.
Yeah.
It was. You went to church.
A lot of people's first family.
Some people, you're right. Some people's first family, and I feel like that kind of camaraderie somewhere just dissipated. It's like we don't have that. You know, I just started. You know, we would grow up, and the brothers of the church were uncle. You know, and
what's up, Unc? Yeah. You know,
and so, like, my kids, when they're around, you know, my brothers. You know, I'm starting to trying to build that camaraderie in them to let them know that you have a village that extends beyond what Dad might be able to do, what you know, whoever might be able to do, and that it's these connections. I believe this is the way God wanted it to be. It's the purpose of the church, us having that community that we don't seem to really value anymore.
And I'm just wondering, and this is me now asking you a question. I'm wondering if you're seeing something, and I want to make sure because it's something I seem to feel I'm witnessing. Have we become, as individual churches, so busy, attached to our agenda to expand our size that that becomes our focal point? That we're so busy, and God had to change my mindset because I want the church to grow in number, but more so than that, God said, wait a minute, Bouie, if you are just thinking about your church growing in number, then you're going to miss all the other things that are external to your church that I'm calling your church to be. To be pivotal in. So God changed my mindset, talked to my husband, and God was doing the same thing with him. I didn't know that. And when we came together, God says, I don't need you to go out seeking to add to your pew. I need you to go out with the agenda to add to my kingdom.
Right now, talk
he said, if you go out and you start trying to build your church and you focus on building my kingdom.
That message was for me.
What will happen while you're out there trying to add to the kingdom? Because you're not concerned about where you rank in size and to the next and to the next church. You out there building the kingdom, and while you're busy going after every soul you encounter, I don't care if I'm 40 miles away from my church. I don't care if I'm in another state. I'm going after that soul because I need to get that soul added to the kingdom. He said, while you're busy with that focus, he said, I'll add to your church.
And then too, I think you see that too in the scripture too. When you look at Jesus, of course he was out trying to reach the world, but he only taught 12 men, and he invested everything in those 12 men to be able to affect the world. And he wasn't trying to do it all by himself, but he knew that there would become a time where he wouldn't be here, and if he entrusted those men, then they would go further. And so maybe the church needs to get back to developing the ones that we have, really discipling them and teaching them to be all that they can be for the Lord, so that even if they never come into your church, they're still getting reached. The kingdom is
not just in godliness, but in both life and godliness. Let's have a focus for getting men godly. But I think a lot of our churches could grow and be a lot stronger if we also teach people life, like life be lifing. Life is real. You got to get a trade or go to school, and you got to pay your bills on time, or your credit gonna be bad.
I've heard something years ago where they were saying, like, some people come to church and they can't get past their problems of every in order to receive the Lord. Like, they can't come and receive what you're preaching. They can't come and receive what you're teaching because they're worried about, hey, my lights might be off. My rent may not be paid. So it's like, we have to look at, there's a lot of stuff in life right now that we can reach them where they're at. Like you say, you have to know where they are.
And I know one of the piggyback off what Brandon was saying, one of my favorite things that Jesus said was, let your light so shine before men in the world, so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in in heaven. If your light is just shining just in the area, someone's going to notice. You know, the old, you know, I've heard my father testify, and the old saints just testify, like you just be out minding your own business, and someone come up, there's something different about you. You know, you don't talk the way that everybody else is talking. You know, you don't act the way everybody else is acting. You know, and I love my father, and I said the same thing. He said, listen, if it weren't for the Holy Ghost, that I'd be out here doing what God knows what. The Holy Ghost is what got my light shining. Yeah. You see the God in me, because this flesh want to act up.
It ain't no good.
It ain't no good. But as long as you just show your light before men, that's how you're going to really expand and build the kingdom. That's really, and like Brandon said, you know, all Jesus had was 12, and then he just told him, just go out amongst every corner of the world, and people gonna come. Just shine your light. That's all. Because I think a lot of times, a lot of people, when they hear witnessing, they think just go to banging on people's doors and trying to invite them to church every wish. No, being a witness just tells them what they know. That's it. You could be minding your own business, walking down the street. Someone may stop you and say there's something different about you, and say, oh yeah, I go to this church right here. You should come visit. Ain't got to be nothing deep and mysterious. I think a lot of times we get deep and mysterious, and then we start confusing people when it comes to that. Life be lifing, and stuff be real simple. Yeah. As long as we keep things real simple, we can reach the multitudes, and our churches would grow to an all-time high.
And you know what? One of the things I pray, and maybe it's just me, you know, I don't want to project this on the rest of the body, but can we stop being spooky? Can Christians stop? Can we?
Yeah. Listen, and they didn't hear you in the back.
I've been saved since 11. Oh, hi there.
Hi, baby. Say hi.
I've been saved since I was 11 years old, and I only say that to say this: I've been saved, and I have encountered some people that, and they spooky.
They're extra spooky.
We can be normal on our jobs.
Oh,
and
we say good morning.
You can spread the gospel without a noun and a verb.
Can we say good morning?
Those are the deep without depth people. The real spooky folk.
So profound till they can't be found. That's the people.
Lord. I love it.
What I'm saying though is, I believe that we have taken the plan of salvation, and people back home know that I say this quite a bit. We've taken the plan of salvation, which I believe is simple.
Simple gospel.
I believe that God is simple, and if we're not careful, we will complicate it.
Yep.
We will make it. We got people walking across coals and jumping through fiery hoops and turning 3 somersaults and checking off every box. Listen, most of us wouldn't have passed that.
No. Come on.
No,
I wouldn't have.
Yeah. So my thing is that,
and 6th generation apostolic, I wouldn't have passed it.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I just think we need to give. I think we need to give them the message of the gospel. Keep it simple, and then show love. Encase it in love. Come on. And if we do that, and I think it was something Brother Durrell said, and that is, one of the problems is keeping people once they come.
Right.
Most churches know that follow-up can be a monster, right? Yeah, right? And if you want your church to physically grow, you can encounter 100 people, but how many of them can you connect with?
Right.
You know, and that can be a struggle for large churches, and you know it can be a struggle for small churches that don't have the depth of people often.
Right.
But it's important to me for us to understand that we must meet the need of the person first.
Yep.
Truth is the most important. But if I walk into the church, if I walk up to you and I got a toothache, and I don't know who's ever had a toothache in this, a toothache will make you want to cut your head off, sit it on a shelf, and say, "I'll come back once it's gone."
No pain.
Listen. If you have a toothache and you don't tend to my toothache, you can dip me in the water. You can take me to the prayer room. I may stammer, but until you deal with the pain, I'm going where they deal with my pain. I'm going where, and whoever stops the pain, that's where I'm staying.
That's where
I'm staying. And what we do is we shove them the truth, but we don't deal with their pain. Because first of all, we bad at acknowledging our own pain.
So
if I don't acknowledge my own pain and I'm walking around for 15 years, I'm on the praise team, I'm ushering, I'm preaching with my own pain that I won't address and acknowledge, then how in the world am I going to address and acknowledge someone else who's hurting? So people often will come, but because we really won't address their pain, they leave.
Wow.
They be bleeding. Just be bleeding all over the place.
Come on.
Listen. You know, Lady Bouie, you said something that real meet them where they are. You know, and we talking about, you know, mothers, you know, you got 3 children. How did you approach each child? Because, you know, each child is different. You know, they come from you, but each one of them got their own personality. So how did you, you know, approach them with their different needs and, you know, and different wants and everything stuff?
You know, and it's going to sound like, because people say, you know, well, do you have a favorite child? You know, people, you know, that's
we want to know.
We want to know.
And this is what I'm getting ready to say. And I think it answers the way I feel. I love all my children, but I love them all differently. And I love them. I love them for who they are. And so I don't love Jalen because Jalen is like Brittany. I love Jalen because Jalen's Jalen.
Right.
I love Josh because so you know, there are wonderful things that I love about Jalen, but there are wonderful things that I love about Brittany. So for me, I don't want to end up with a Jacob and Joseph and his brothers, because I think if we're not careful, parents can create sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
Come on. So all of my children, I think if you were to, you know, interview them all, which they said it themselves, you know, hey, Jalen, prior to her being married and moving out,
Put those air quotes in there.
She traveled with me quite a bit. She traveled with me. She armor beared for me. She assisted me in different places. The other children had moved on to, you know, different locations. So I was asked on more than one occasion, was Jalen your favorite? No, honey, I love all my children.
There we go.
Don't ask me if I love them the same, because they're not the same. I love them individually for who they are.
Right.
You know, and so that's sort of the approach that I've had it with loving my children. And let me say that doesn't just stop at my children, because I believe that if I'm going to be the best woman that God has called me to be, and I believe that He's called me to be a mother, and especially the mother, you know, of a flock that my husband pastors, then I have to be able to love more than my children.
Wow.
Right.
And let me tell you, that means that you got to learn how to love the wayward ones. You got to learn how to love the ones who don't want you to love them. Because that's the Jesus that died on the cross.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna be like Jesus, we gotta be like, we gotta strive to be like all of Jesus.
Right.
Evangelist Bouie.
Yes.
How important is it in ministry for, I don't want to just say the first lady, but just, I'll say it. The first lady.
Help us.
Have that heart. Like, how pivotal is it in ministry to have that motherly heart? Like, I remember my professor saying that literally, even the example of Jesus, his love always came before transformation. And it seems like a good mother has that same approach. How important is it for the lady of the house in ministry to have that heart that you so eloquently described?
Because you're not about to get me in trouble.
You're gonna have these first ladies texting her like,
I'm not about to show up in Dallas and they got on the first ladies.
We'll block Lady Vivian so she can't see this video.
No, y'all not gonna mess with Lady Vivian. That's my friend.
Lady Viv is my friend. Lady Viv is my friend. No, I absolutely believe that God makes no mistakes. Man makes mistakes, and I mean man gender neutral. But God makes no mistakes. So I believe that if God has truly called you to fall into the role of first lady, and some would say, you know, first ladies are definitely not all cut from the same cloth. And I'm gonna and again, we are both spiritual and natural. So if for me to be the best mother to my children and me to be the best mother to my flock, I got to be the best me. And if you're not the best you, I don't care if you're the usher, parking lot attendant, head elder, or pastor. If you're not the best you, you're not going to be the best for the people.
Wow.
And so I think for a first lady who has to mother, it requires that I am constantly, and this is true, you all, I didn't always see this, but I see the value of it over the last 15, 20 years, because God was prepping me when I didn't even know what the next leg of my spiritual journey would be. He was prepping me to understand the necessity of self-care. Let me tell you, the reason why people are struggling to care for others in the household of faith, because they have not properly cared for themselves.
Wow.
If I'm not caring, if I'm not getting the emotional attention, if I'm not addressing some of then all that is gonna, I think my godson Brandon said, it's gonna bleed out.
Yep.
Listen, so I think it's extremely important to answer your question, that we are able to mother the flock that God has given us in that house that he's placed us, and to perfect it, because I'm not perfect. So I got to make sure that every day, if I embrace the role, if I accept this mission, if I accept this, if I so choose to accept this mission, then I got to make sure that I am perfecting it. So there are times when I have to work on me. You know, I have to, okay, wait a minute. How well did a lot of times the people that watch the show, I'm always talking about self-evaluation. I believe self-evaluation is a daily thing that everyone should do, and especially a mother, because there'll be times that you got to go back and say you sorry. And if I can't say, if I can't go to a member and say I'm sorry, then I'm a sorry mother. If I can't go to my children can tell you this, they can vouch for me. There were
Bars.
When
Bars.
I dealt with them. Listen, as a mother, sometimes things, you all know this is trial and error. And I dealt with them. My words were a little too rough. They had too much edge. And after they left for school, I felt that thing. Oh, wow, God convicted me. I got a Holy Ghost that still convicts me. And I had to apologize. Let me tell you, if you can't apologize, if you can't say, I'm sorry, I don't care what role you in, you're going to have difficulty. You're going to have difficulty. So I find that is important, to embrace your role, to take care of yourself so you can be the best you for the people that you serve. And it is serving. It is serving. My role is to serve. You know.
Beautiful.
Norm, I think Norm had a question.
No, I'm normally I talk a lot on this show, and I'm just
taking it in.
I'm just taking it all in. This is amazing. This is truly amazing. I think if I could have a question, it will be, what strategies can we use to preserve this information? Because we realize from generation to generation to generation, if we don't find a way to encapsulate and transfer the knowledge, then ultimately it becomes lost and useless. So I guess for a question for me, what strategies can we I guess our mothers use to kind of pass this stuff on? Because like I remember my grandmother taught my mother taught my sister, but I don't really see that nowadays.
It starts here. Share the church nerds. Your local mother.
But Gabriel, I know you meant that in jest. But there's a lot of truth to that. We share. This is the mode of communication that we use. This is how information. I'm not the IT people in the room, but this is the way information flows.
Right.
And in you know, in the old African villages, they had, I believe it was the griots who could learn. They knew centuries of history. Centuries of history. And they would share it with the next one, so that, because not to know your history, you're destined to repeat it, whatever the mistake is. And so I think we need to take that into the spiritual realm, and we do need those that know the old way. We do need those that for them, the landmark doesn't shift. Right. The old landmark doesn't shift. We do need, I'm talking when it comes to the word, we do need those. So yes. I think that we do need people that will embrace. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of garbage. I'm just saying, I'm not a Luddite. I'm not anti-technology or any of that. But we do have a lot of junk that social media pushes. But if the saints of God would not become a part of that, and it, and become voracious in the spreading of good information.
Right.
Yep. I mean, share this stuff, put it out there. And that's how I think people can glean. And I do think that we still need people that will simply gather young people and share knowledge.
Yeah.
Share the knowledge.
Yeah, for real. I mean, because I mean, a couple of questions ago, we talked about the church mothers, and that there was a church mother, I never forget, it was Mother Nan Smith. And I was dating a girl at the time, and I was so in love. And she was all the wrong person for me. All the wrong. And she was one of the mothers, she didn't say much. And I'm walking through the church. She says, "Come here, young man." I'm like, "What's wrong, Mother Smith? What's going on?" She ain't the one.
No, you must have the same mother. I had one. They
roll right up on you, man. They roll right up on you.
Tell you that broke me out of my stupor. What?
Listen.
That ain't it.
That's right. And I think mothers need to be honest and trustworthy.
Yeah.
So that you even if mother don't say it in the tone you like. You trust mother's trustworthy. We need to be trustworthy so that when we need to say what we need to say, you may not like it, but you're going to receive it. And so I think that's extremely important. And again, I think everything we do, the Bible reminds us to do it in love.
Right.
Do it in love. If we got to rebuke in love. I mean, come on, it's too much tension. It's too much.
I think like you're saying, Lady Boo, and what Norm was saying, when it comes to those old church mothers or a mother figure or your own personal mother, we all got those quotes that our mothers gave us growing up. We thought they were hurt, it hurt our feelings at the time, but it made a lot of sense. Once you got older. One of my mom's favorite quotes was, "You're educated, but you're dumb." Think we got everything, but you don't know everything. Or you made that up somewhere, so it's something about mothers. They got that they just know, they like Norm, you must have had the same mother, because the person I was dating beforehand, she was not that ain't she ain't the one.
Watch yourself, Jay.
She ain't the one. What? but listen, Lady Bouie, we thank you for coming on with us today. Yes. I got one more question for you, and then you've been watching the show. Norm always ends with a video for us at the end. But my last question is, what did you take from your own mother, and how did you add it to yourself when you became a mother? Or did you do things differently, or did you do some of the same stuff that she did? How did you become your own mother? Because a lot of moms is different, what I'm saying? So, sometimes they'll take the same attributes that they mother have and try to add it to their own personal parenting. But how did you take some of what your mother taught you and develop into your own, or did you figure out something that your mother probably didn't do to this generation? Can you explain that?
Yeah, we had, this is funny that you're asking that question, because we had this discussions twice, two different discussions. And one of the things is that what I believe that if we've been raised right and it's been a positive experience, then we raise up. And I hope that makes sense. That means that if you were at a good place, you go to the next level. It may not be perfect, but you're raised up, right? You're not raised, And so my mother, I believe in my mind, was the best mother that there was. Yet there were things, as we all know, there were things that my mother did that I thought was absolutely wrong. And when I get grown, I'm not doing that. Right. And amazingly and astonishingly, I, in some ways, have mothered very similar to her. However, there are some things where I raised up. She set a good foundation here but I believe with God's help, I've taken it to a perfected the area that she gave me that was good. So I think that's the way we should do it. And so my mother, one of the most important lessons she gave me is, first of all, she introduced me to God, but she taught me to be relatable, to be personable, and to be approachable. And I think too many times we're not relatable. Sometimes if we're not careful, we get besides ourselves, and we believe the hype of our title, and we don't become personable. And let me tell you, if you ain't relatable and you're not personable, baby, you're not approachable.
The hype of the title.
I strive to be all those three things.
That right there.
The hype of the title. That's good right there.
You gave us about 4 or 5 quote-worthy shirts.
We're
building up our
merch. Don't be surprised if you see some of these floating around Dallas in a few Hashtag deep with no depth.
Hey.
Lady Bouie, thank you so much for hopping on with the Church Nerds.
Thank you.
Honored.
Listen, we want you to make sure you like, comment, subscribe to Church Nerds. Norm's going to give us a video in a minute, but make sure you like, comment, subscribe to us on all of our platforms, because if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. Be a part of the Church Nerd congregation.
Yes.
Because we thank God for Lady Bouie hopping on with the nerds.
Happy Mother's Day, Lady Bouie.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Listen, if y'all want us to bring Lady Bouie back, put in the comment. We want you to bring Lady Bouie back. Man, for real. Well, Lady Bouie, thank you for so much for being on here. Norm, what you got for us?
Well, it's Mother's Day. And, there was a couple I was going through. I landed on one. It made me think of a song that I think every mother sings.
Oh, joy. Oh, boy.
On Mother's Day. It actually started to remind me of Brian, but after this conversation, I'm all the mothers in Zion. Be blessed.
Oh, good.
I'm about to go lay down. Yeah. Go lay down. Go. Lay down. I'm about to go lay down. I'm about to go lay down. Look at your neighbor, say, go lay down. Go lay down. Yeah. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Hey, go lay down. Go lay down.
This will certainly be my benediction on Wednesday night.
I think I'm right in that vein, because I think after this I will be going to lay down.
Absolutely. Lady Bouie, thank you all for being on with the Church Nerds, man. Listen, it's me, Jay, we got Norman, he gave Joy, Pastor B, Darrell Walls, Brandon Travis. Andre was in the comments, so we got it. So I guess we ain't gonna mention Andre. And our very special guest, Lady Virginia Bouie. We are the Church Nerds Podcast. We will see you next time. Later.
Good luck grading those papers.
Thank you.